Hey, what's up, guys? Tuki here, back again with another episode of a Nation United Finland edition right here on NHL 19. And today, the new look Finns are back in the Eastern Conference Final. Although whether or not they are good enough to make it to a Stanley Cup Final, well, that is still very much in question. And whether or not they can do what the prior version of this team could not do when that version of that team lost 2 straight Stanley Cup Finals. That still hurts. Whether or not this team can do what they could not, we don't yet know, and we will not have the opportunity to know unless we can make it past the New Jersey Devils. Of course, this season was a massive question mark as a whole, with all of the new talent that we brought into the team. And as we've continued to go through the playoffs, of course, changes have been made. We started the playoffs with Ramo and found out pretty quickly, yeah, you're not really going to cut it. But we've continued to make changes. We've continued to adapt based off of how so many of these unknowns have, developed throughout the year. The defense, obviously, still isn't our strong point. And in theory, goaltending is not our strong point either. But it all has been good enough to get us to this point. We're not going to waste any time in this episode, or at least I hope not. Let's take a look at what we're up against. Let's take a look at the New Jersey Devils. This is the team, and I think we're in a very similar situation here because it's not very good in terms of, like, oh my god, I can't believe it. It's very well-rounded. Probably better than what our squad is, although you could argue we have 3 elite players-ish, at least 2. They do have 3. It is Taylor Hall on the top line, Kirby Dach, and Martin Kaut, who was a first-round pick of the Avalanche in real life. I mean, obviously, Dach and Taylor Hall working very, very well together, which doesn't really surprise me. The second line, Tomas Hertl at 35 years old, Nico Hischier at an 89 overall, and Taylor Fedoruk, who was a first-round pick 17th overall of the Devils in 2023. The third line, Jesper Bratt with Jarrett Anderson-Dolan and Nathan Bastian, who's a penalty minute taker. And the fourth line, Nick Ritchie with John Quinville and Pablo Kim, former first-round pick of the Detroit Red Wings. So again, nothing overly ridiculous, but very well-rounded, and it makes me think that their defense or goaltending has to be something special, and that, that's probably where the majority of the cap is being taken up, and apparently not. It's not a bad defense core, but it's nothing overly ridiculous, and they don't have a true, top-pairing defenseman. You have Travis Dermott alongside Kirill Nestorov, who was a 6th-round steal for New Jersey back in 2022. Second pairing, Nikita Habibulin, who was a 7th-round steal of the Leafs back in the day, alongside Brandon Montour. And the third pairing, Will Butcher, next to Steven Santini. So again, nothing too crazy. The goaltender, that's where we could have some trouble. Caleb Vigilante, .929 save percentage from the 90 overall elite goaltender, a 2021 4th-round selection of the Devils. That is the reason why they are here, arguably. But in terms of teams that we've come up against in the conference final in the past, we're not exactly heavily outmatched, nor am I overly intimidated by their team, but it is the type of team that would typically beat you in the playoffs. Now, we have the slight edge in offense, a decent edge on D. The goaltending, though, is where they get that edge that might just prove to be the difference maker. So this is very much the type of series that could go either way, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. It is a complete toss-up. We are not underdogs, nor are we favorites. 2 evenly matched teams, or at least fairly evenly matched teams, going at it. The winner goes to the Stanley Cup Final. Can we make it back for a 3rd time? Again, I'm not sure how many seasons we have left in this series. Admittedly, new series start, again, based on when I finish some last-second roster editing, my final bit of roster editing for NHL 19, because then I can just take what I have for NHL 19 and immediately put it into NHL 20 when that comes out, and it's perfect, and I have it right where I want it, and admittedly, I'm a little bit behind on that. So, yeah, not sure how many seasons we have left, and this team is in danger. Again, I've talked about it numerous times throughout the series. There's been a little bit of a hit or miss kind of track record with these nations series, and I want Finland to be remembered on the right side of history as champions. It would be very disappointing to fall short. But let's do this. First period of Game 1 in New Jersey, and we have a 2-1 lead at the end of it. Kiprusoff gets the opening goal. Taylor Hall was able to tie it, but then Kiprusoff scores again. We're up 2-1, despite being just about even in shots. Second period, okay, this is going to be a high-scoring affair, isn't it? Quinville and Nesterov able to give New Jersey the lead. Brad Lambert scores with 50 seconds left to tie it up at 3 apiece. They have the slight edge in shots. We are tied on the scoreboard at 3 apiece. Again, as we go to the third period, Lambert scores 25 seconds in, but 35 seconds later, Martin Kaut ties it. Goaltending? Never heard of it, apparently, as New Jersey's on the power play. That goes to waste, and we're over the halfway point of the period. The next goal is likely to win it. Neither team have been able to hold on to the lead. Are we destined for overtime? We are. Of course we are. Overtime yet again for the Finns. 4 apiece. As far as who wins it, don't know. Just hope it's a Finn that plays for the team that wears blue. Please. And not like EA. Don't be like, well, they were the Rockies and they wore blue back in the day. Don't do that to me. The team that currently wears blue. No Colorado Rockies. They turn into the Devils kind of nonsense. Let us win this. I'm calling upon Rasmus Kupari. That's my guess. Come on. Power play. Early. Wasted. That really sucks. We're 7 minutes in. Power play for New Jersey. 5-on-3, and they will not let that opportunity slip away. Taylor Hall scores the winner in overtime. The Devils take it 5-4, winning the first game of this series. That is a heartbreaker. That is. Hakkarainen, I'm not going to say... It's almost unfair to say he had a bad game, but he did let up 5 goals. I don't think that's out of... I don't think that's an unnecessary criticism. Had Hakkarainen had a slightly better game, things may have gone our way. Nashville took Game 1 against San Jose, and we will jump into Game 2, looking to get a little bit of revenge. A win here, I don't want to say is desperately needed, but falling down 2-0 in the series would be a rough hole to climb out of. First period, and we get the lead again. Samu Louis with the opening goal, despite them out shooting us. Second period, it's now 2-0. Esa Jokela makes it 2. We're tied at 21 shots apiece. The difference this time is that so far we haven't thrown away the lead. Third period, though, there's still plenty of time for that. Let's see what happens. Can we hold on? A third goal would be nice. Power play for New Jersey goes to waste. Taylor Hall ever so dangerous on that power play. And there's Jokinen. He's had a great postseason. He gets his first goal of this series. It's 3-0. And barring one of the worst collapses I've ever seen, this is going to be one for the win column, as they had a power play that went to waste and they had nothing from there. The Finns have tied this series up. Called out Hakkarainen for having a bad game. Well, he had a damn good game this time out. A 31 save shutout for the young goaltender, Jokela, leading the way from there with a 2-point effort. And this series is tied at 1 apiece, as is the Western Conference Final, with the San Jose Sharks winning Game 2. We head home to Finland, the beautiful Espoo Metro Arena. Let's do it. Game 3. No lineup changes necessary, obviously. For now, we're just going to roll with it. Let's see what happens. First period, we have the lead again. Third straight game that we've scored the opening goal. It's Ospland as they doubled us up in shots, but we have the advantage. Hakkarainen standing on his head. First period goes to us. Second period goes to them. Martin Kaut gets his second goal of this series. 28 shots to 19. We are tied at 1 as we head to the third period. It is a toss-up, anybody's ball game here. The next goal, oh so important, and it's Samu Louis who gets it. The lead is restored. Apparently Sparta kicked Vigilante through the post to get that goal based on where he scored it. A power play chance goes to waste as we approach the 5-minute mark. Will New Jersey be able to tie it? Nick Ritchie does. Are we going to overtime? Yes, we are. So close yet so far. 3:18 away from taking a 2-1 series lead, but Nick Ritchie says otherwise. We go to overtime for the second time in 3 games. And again, you have to hope it's a victory for us, a victory for the boys in blue. And for the love of God, just don't take a penalty and keep Taylor Hall away from the puck. Overtime, let's do it. Who will walk away with the lead in this series? The Devils still with the slight edge in shots. Will it translate to a win? It will not. Brad Lambert with the goal, and a 3-2 victory is secured for the Finns. Hakkarainen, another tremendous effort. Lambert and Louis, the top line, getting it done. 3-2 is your final in Game 3, and the Finns bounce back from a 1-0 loss in Game 1. That is not what happened. It was a 5-4 overtime loss in Game 1. We've bounced back to win 2 straight since, which is it's a thing of beauty. Nashville with a 2-1 series lead as they take Game 3 from the Sharks. I still don't see any reason. I can't speak today, apparently. I see no reason. I still don't see a reason to make a change to the Lions. We go to Game 4, and if the goaltending can stay on point, if the top line can continue to produce, this could be one of the biggest games of this series in terms of a positive result. First period of Game 4, goal apiece. For the first time, the Devils get the first goal. Nathan Bastian, but Hämäläinen was able to tie it. We had the edge in shots, but we are still tied. Second period, New Jersey has the lead. Kim and Kaut. Martin Kaut has been phenomenal in this series. They outscore us 2-0 in that period. They have a 3-1 lead heading into the third. The Devils 20 minutes away from tying this series. Is there a comeback? Is there a comeback for the Finns? We need to hope so. Brad Lambert scores under 5 minutes into the period. Can we hold on? That is the question. Power play for the Devils. We kill it off. 6 minutes. Can we tie it? Can we force overtime? For the third time in this series, the answer is no. So close, yet so far. Lambert gave us a chance, but it just wasn't meant to be. The Devils have tied this series up, 2 wins apiece, and it's a best of 3 from this point on. Home ice recovered. Nashville, though, now up 3-1 on San Jose. The Preds just a game away from the Cup final. We go into Game 5 with the same team. Let's see what we can do. First period goes to the Devils. Nathan Bastian again. A little bit of deja vu, only this time there was no goal from Hämäläinen to even it up. Second period, we do tie it. It's Toskala with the goal. They have the edge in shots, but we're tied at 1 apiece as we go to the third period of this crucial Game 5. We need a goal, we need a win, or we face elimination back home for Game 6. Who will get this next goal? Likely to be the winner. We're over the halfway point of the period. It's certainly going to be the winner if we see a goal in regulation. Under 4 minutes, are we going to overtime for the third time? Yes, we are. We have 1 win apiece in overtime in this series. Let's see what happens here. Who will have a chance to end this series in Game 6? The answer is hopefully going to be a positive one. Power play is wasted. No, you can't waste that opportunity. Another power play. Come on. We're going to lose. Power play for New Jersey. There it is. Seen that quote-unquote script a few too many times. The Devils take advantage and make the most of their power play chances. They will have a chance to end this series in 6. A great effort from Hakkarainen. The offense just did not have an answer for Vigilante. And now, our backs are against the wall. Nashville have punched their ticket to the Stanley Cup final. We need a victory to do the same. And I can't help but think maybe a quick switch up of the fourth line. Kupari's been a little bit quiet. He has 5 assists. Ludman's been a little bit quiet as well. So I'll tell you what. We're going to go for something drastic here. The third line's been on point. I'm not sure what to do. I'm honestly not sure. I'm tempted to bump up Oswin because of the goal. You know what? Let's do it. Did we go that far? Did we go that far? Did we go that far? We're doing it. Ludman has assists, but he's just not scoring. You know what? No, we're leaving it. We're leaving it. Sink or swim. Sink or swim, except for that second pairing. Woof. Oh my god. That is not good. Toskala is going to be out. That's the one change we are going to make. That pairing is getting ripped to shreds. Toskala's out. And I think it's going to be Vahalati who gets the call. More than likely. Actually, he's the one that started. No, he was in the AHL. Okay, Vahalati, Ramo, Niemelainen was the one who started. Vahalati is 28. Let's go for the 20-year-old. Let's go for Ramo. He's going to get a huge opportunity here to try and save the day. We had to make at least one change. That will be the change. Ramo is in on defense. And we'll see if the 20-year-old can make the most of this opportunity. Game 6. Can we force Game 7 back in New Jersey, or are the Devils destined to take on the Preds in the Cup final? We need a win. First period, and that's one hell of a start. Brad Lambert and Hämäläinen with the goals just under 10 minutes apart. 12 shots to 9, 2-0 on the board. A dream start for the Finns at home, but we have to keep the pressure on. Second period, nightmare scenario. Hurdle and Kaut, 2 goals in just over a minute. A little bit over a minute. And they tie the game. Jokinen, though, able to restore the lead. We have the 3-2 edge heading into the third, but a nightmare to choke away the lead in less than 3 minutes into the second period. We go to the third. Jokinen's goal sees us in front, but an early power play goal from the Devils sees them tie it. They still have a chance. It had to have been a major, but Hurdle does the job. His second goal of the game. We are tied. Taylor Hall scores. We are trailing, and Taylor Hall, my God, we're crumbling. We're crumbling. We're crumbling. The Devils win it. And in an instant, we go from optimistic to collapsing in an extreme example of that. My God. Outscored 6-1 after the first period. It started off so well. We were 40 minutes away from Game 7. And then within 3 minutes we blow it. Jokinen gives us a chance. And then we just get absolutely destroyed in the third. The Devils will move on to the Stanley Cup final. Deservedly so. But a nightmare performance. I mean, you want to say, like, hey, you know what? We made all those changes and we still made it back to the conference final. We were close. But it's tough to view that as a positive, I would say. At least right now, it's tough to view what just happened as a positive. So close, yet so far to another cup final. Hakkarainen did well, but he wasn't amazing, which is arguably what we needed. Samu Louis, of course, proved he's still a top 6 talent. Of course, he kind of took a back seat for the season, so we could see other guys and how they were going to develop and how they were going to prove to be. Ludman scoring only 4 goals is a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. And I know he had 10 assists, but that's one of the guys you got to point the finger towards. Is hey, this loss is on you. I mean, the second line was solid, but Kupari obviously isn't a second-line guy. And I think you would argue, I mean, it's Kapanen, who was there but struggled. But yeah, Kapanen, certainly more of a second-line guy. Hämäläinen's a really strong third option. I mean, as outside, like heading into the next season, right? I mean, Kupari is the only guy listed in the top 9 that I'm kind of worried about as far as him being where he is. Mika Pirnez is a decent bottom 6 option. I mean, he's obviously too good for the AHL. He's a decent bottom 6 option. Ville Norinen had the really interesting numbers. Maybe he stays, maybe he goes, and then Tommy Asplund is probably still as well a decent bottom 6 option. I think the team is set up well. You could argue maybe ideally it looks something like this. Maybe Kupari goes. Of course, we have some younger options. I mean, some other options like Martens and Vikola, Lamala as well, who had some success previously. I think there will be a little bit of reshuffling, but for the most part, the moves that we made ultimately, put this team into a position to succeed, we would hope, over the next few seasons. I think the upcoming offseason, in particular, I mean, the draft, I mean, we know free agency-wise that there's really nobody better out there. I mean, if there's a top Finnish defenseman available, maybe, as New Jersey actually ended up winning the whole damn thing, which I never know if that makes me feel better or worse, because that makes me feel if we could have beaten New Jersey and we were close, that we could have beaten Nashville. But, maybe there are some big moves, but for the most part, it's going to be the team that we have and whoever comes out of the draft that this squad is built out of. And I'm optimistic, but that's such a harsh way to lose. But for a lot of these younger guys that have just joined this team, it's the first time they've lost like that. It's not the first time we've lost like that in the series, but it's one of those things where you got to remember it's a different era, essentially. Jack Hughes wins the Art Ross and the Hart. Odeline, the Norris for San Jose as well. Beach won the Calder for Calgary. Hall won the Conn Smythe, which I cannot disagree with, as Luukkonen. And DiPietro took home the Jennings in Detroit. McDavid with another Selke. As you get a look at the awards. And then down in the AHL, Lamala was league MVP because he's way too good for the AHL. Way too good. As you see the award winners there in the AHL. So, a disappointing end to the season, but a promising restart as we put this team into that new era. In terms of looking forward to the next episode in the future and what's going to happen, I mean, in terms of top prospects, it's not looking good, is it? It's not looking good. I mean, we have Niinimaa. We have, I guess it'd be Pispinen. Markku Pispinen. We have some more of the same. I mean, the targets are certainly going to be Niinimaa, Pispinen, Santaviori, and Hegos we can't get. But if we can get these 3 guys here, and we have the players that we can trade to try and make that happen, like Erasmus Kupari could be moved to take advantage of the trade value that he has. We can go out and get some of these younger talents. That's certainly the target. I mean, in terms of other guys, there is a goalie, Petri Sikola, who will absolutely be a target as well. But guys like Osala, Lahunen, they're not going to be worth it. And I mean, if we sort by just potentials outright, low 6s, even gems, I'm not interested in. So, I mean, we have our targets. They're the 4 pinned players that you see right there. And they will absolutely be the guys that we look to draft And then maybe we look to get the one medium 9 in the grinder Teemu Lehtinen. Maybe. But for the most part, we have our targets sorted. And in terms of players in the system, the funny thing is we were listed as a rebuilder, which is insane. In terms of players in the system, there is only one, Janila, who will be signed this season. He'll be down in the AHL. Of course, we pretty much cleared out everything. So the goal, it's fairly simple. Get right back to where we were this year, and I think we'll have the roster to do so. It's just how many of these players from the upcoming draft can we get? Who should stay? Who should go? A lot of that does depend on trade value, as the Minnesota Wild have won the draft lottery. So again, we know who our targets are in the draft class. The only thing I want to get a look at are retired players and our trade blocks, so we can see what picks we have in particular. As Stamkos retires, Eberle, Tarasenko, and Ryan O'Reilly, Matt Duchene, Victor Hedman, Dougie Hamilton also calls it a day. Nearly 700 goals. One more season for Stammer. He would have hit it. But it was not meant to be. Pretty big loss for Tampa. Almost 900 points for Victor Hedman as a defenseman. Goaltenders Martin Jones, Jake Allen, Robin Lehner, and Grubauer. The main ones to retire there. Stamkos, Tarasenko, and Grubauer all became scouts. Nice. And we lost a scout as well to retirement, which is not a major deal. So in terms of the draft picks that we have and moves that we can look to make, I mean, we do have 2 firsts this year. And in terms of the draft picks this year, we actually have 3 firsts this year. A couple of seconds. So we will absolutely have the ability to do some damage in this upcoming draft, make the moves that we got to make to get the top-notch players in the draft, and take it from there. The good thing is we're getting a goalie in the system, which we desperately need. You could argue we need another top-notch defenseman, but at the very least, Ramo will be joining the team. Janila's in the system. There is that one defenseman available. Vitanen's also there. We'll see how he continues to develop, but there are obvious concerns about our defense. And forward-wise, like I said, Kapari has value that we might as well take advantage of. I think, we could probably use him. And he's not a bad option to have in the bottom 6, but some players have to stay, some players have to go. Cough, cough, hint, hint, wink, wink. So some changes will be made, but for the most part, I think we already know who the players are that have carved out that spot that will be a part of this team next year. And again, for a team that was listed as a rebuilder, we're now up to hopefuls, and we were just 2 wins away from a Stanley Cup final appearance. So things are looking good for us as we make our final push for the Cup over the next few seasons. Thank you guys for watching and supporting this series. Again, we're heading down the home stretch. Now that we've done this retooling, it has to be this group of players, this core group, that gets us over the finish line. Pun not, but completely intended. Otherwise, it's not exactly going to the original Nations United territory of just, my God, everything went wrong. But it would be almost as big of a disappointment to have a nation of this caliber fall short in their efforts. I'll see you guys next time. Till then, have a good one. Take it easy, and I'll see you then.